Should the Seattle Seahawks look at adding a top-flight edge rusher to their roster in 2025? What's going on, everybody? Good morning. It is Tuesday. We're moving on to another position here, moving on to another group of free agents, and we're on to the edge rushers specifically. The edge rushers, the guys who play on the outside, the guys who get after the quarterback. Very important position in the modern NFL. One of the most important positions, I would say. Obviously, right now in the NFL, quarterbacks get paid the most money. But if you were looking for what group gets paid the second most money, edge rushers are at least in the conversation. They'd be in the conversation with tackles, left tackles, and wide receivers are starting to creep up a little bit too. But edge rushers, outside pass rush, very, very important in this league. So let's consider where the Seahawks currently sit as far as edge rushers go. Right now, they're kind of full. You've got Uchenna Nwosu, who is, for the moment, still on the team, and I think he's going to be here in 2025. I'm not sure, but he is here. You've got Boye Mafe, you've got Derek Hall, and you've got Dre'Mont Jones. Now, the thing is, I think we all know Dre'Mont Jones won't be here, but for the moment he is. And we also know he's not very good. We also know that it's possible he plays a lot of his snaps on the inside, even if he was here. So you can look at Dre'Mont Jones a couple different ways. You can say, oh, he's not good, or he's not even really a full-time edge. He's not meant to play edge full-time. So if you consider things through that lens, there is room for another edge rusher. But I will say this. It's not like the Seahawks necessarily need another decent edge rusher. Their problem is not that they lack depth. They actually have good depth at the edge rusher position. What they really lack is one certified monster. What they lack is some superstar who's going to go and get 15 plus sacks a season. So there are certainly scenarios where they end up needing another depth piece, but I do think there's a very compelling argument to be made that the Seahawks would benefit tremendously from getting a superstar or star-level player at the edge position. So even though I doubt very much this is the way they go, it is worth taking a look at some of these top guys. So we're going to start with the top line edges. So really there are two guys at the top this year, two guys who are projected to get $20 million a year or more that are hitting free agency. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at those guys, and we're going to see how we feel about them. This first guy, he's getting up there in years. There's definitely a little bit of a red flag hanging off of this guy, maybe even a big red flag. I don't know. Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, been in the league since 2014, was the 5th overall pick. Has been great pretty much his whole career. He's going to turn 34 in a couple days here, actually. So age, for him, it's been nothing but a number so far, really. The last few years in particular, he's been money in the bank for the Chargers. He got Defensive Player of the Year votes in 2023. He has had a really, really impressive late season, I guess you could call it a resurgence. And while the numbers were not as prolific in 2024, he was still great. And he was part of an elite defense. So, future Hall of Famer, made the All-Pro team many times, won Defensive Player of the Year. He's awesome. And the only thing that's really managed to keep him off the accolade list is missing games. And the only season he missed significant games was 2021. So he's as cool as it gets out there, man. He's been a monster. He's played with his hand in the ground. He's played standing up. Now, in his older age, I do wonder if standing up is better for him, but that's always a little bit hard to determine from player to player. So, would you go for Khalil Mack in free agency, knowing that he's just about to turn 34? But because you also have to know that the age is not preventing him from being a phenomenal player. Last year, he was one of the best edges in the league, according to PFF, 90.4. Now, obviously, that was more about efficiency than it was overall production because he only had the 6 sacks. Like the previous year, he had a similar grade, 91.8, on almost 1,000 snaps. So there is definitely a strong indication here that Mack is not what he used to be and that he is starting to enter a different phase of his career. But there is every reason to believe he has a lot of really good stuff to give. And just for the sake of argument, add him to the Seahawks in place of Draymond Jones. You get rid of Draymond, you bring in Khalil Mack. Got Mack and Nwosu starting. You've got Mafe and Hall coming off the bench. Nobody has to play too much. Everybody gets to put their best foot forward every time they're on the field. And you would achieve great things. So it's a little bit bold. It's a little bit ambitious. But this guy can still play at a very high level. This guy is still one of the best in the league at his position. There is reason to believe he would benefit from being in a tight rotation where he only has to play maybe even 30 snaps a game. That might be beneficial. Botrack thinks he's still going to get paid like a star, though. It's not going to be Bosa money or nothing like that. It's not going to be Josh Allen Hines money. It's not going to be even TJ Watt money, but we are talking about 3 years, $71 million, basically. $23.6 million a year. I don't know if I can spin that because that means you're going to be paying him when he's 34, 35, 36. Hard to believe that he's still doing this kind of stuff when he's 36. Hard to believe that he's getting double-digit sacks when, I mean, let's be fair here. Since 2019, he's gotten double-digit sacks once in his career. Now, you don't have to get sacks to be an elite edge player. You can get pressures. You can be great against the run. But there is a little bit of a caution sign going up here, I think. There is a little bit of an indicator that you might not want to throw a 3-year deal at this guy right now, unless it's a 2-year deal with window dressing. And even then, I mean, 34 years old is no joke. The cliff could come this season. But interesting idea to explore. If you could get this price down a little bit to even like $20 million a year, I would be pretty amenable to trying that because, again, I think that you get his snaps down to 30 to 35 a game, he's going to make beautiful music for at least a couple more years. The only other guy that's expected to get top-line money this offseason would be Malcolm Koonce. Malcolm Koonce, if you haven't heard too much about him, I don't blame you. He's not a big name yet, mostly because he missed the entirety of the 2024 season, did not play. But he set himself up for a nice payday in 2023 when, on a pretty bad team, he had 8 sacks. So he was coming on strong. He broke out in 2023. He was going to show everybody. He did awesome stuff that season. Looked like he was the next rising stud at the edge position. And then 2024, he didn't even get to touch the field. So, derailed. What can you do? So, it is going to be tricky. This is not a Khalil Mack situation at all. You have one really good season from Malcolm Koonce, right? 2023, PFF grade was really good, 81.3, 500 snaps. It's good, but you are taking a lot of things on faith if you're willing to pay this guy that money. And there is going to be money involved, believe you me. He's an edge rusher. Edge rushers tend to get the benefit of the doubt and tend to get more money than you would think. So normally you'd look at a guy like Malcolm Koonce and been like, and you'd think, well, he missed 2024. He only had, his breakout year was 8 sacks. He only played 500 snaps. What are we all getting excited about? But he's about to turn 27, about to hit the best years of his career in all likelihood. Somebody's probably going to pay him a lot. Now, I don't know if Spotrac is right here with 2 years, $40 million, but they could be. They absolutely could be. And I'm not going to be that surprised if it happens. I know some people will be because this guy isn't a household name, but think about it like this. If Koonce gets $20 million, think about other players that have gotten similar amounts. Think about Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat is not some super duper star. He got 24.5 last season, right? Look at, I mean, hey, Draymond, they got Draymond Jones listed here. That's actually a decent example. Draymond Jones had done more than Malcolm Koonce, but he wasn't looked at as a superstar either. He was just considered a good player in Denver. And he got 2 off seasons ago over 17 million. And before anybody says, oh, that was John Schneider being stupid, no, that was the predicted market value for Draymond Jones at the time. So I do think Koonce is going to get close to this at least. I don't know if he'll get up to 20, but I think it's going to be relatively close. So admittedly, I'm not too hot to trot on this one. You're taking a little too much on faith for me. And if I'm going to spend 20 mil plus a year on an edge rusher, I'd like something a little bit more. How about somebody who just played in 2024, right? The guy didn't play a snap in 2024. We haven't seen him in over a year now. Just a thought. All right. That's it. Those two guys are the two top line guys at the edge rushing position. Those are the two guys who I think are going to get around or more than 20 million a year. I don't know if Koonce gets there, but he'll get close. And yeah, if you want top of the line edge rushing, those are your two choices. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. More edge rushers coming in the later videos today. And everyone have a good day. Go Hawks.